Good morning to you, wherever you are, because it is
Morning Somewhere!
for July 31st, 2024. My name is Bernie Burns, sitting right over there, fresh from the medaling ceremony. Ashley Burns. Say hi to Ashley, everybody.
I just had to pick the right category, and then I could get a medal. Turns out, my category, judging.
I do feel like Olympics now, where they're adding all these events. We talked about this previously. Like they're adding this and that. I feel like it's getting to the point of like world records, where when you were a kid, you're like you could just come up with a world record that you had never heard of or no one had ever thought of before, and you could just get the Guinness Book of World Records in that.
Right, like if you got your fingers closer than anyone had ever gotten them ever before without touching.
You know, there's a how dare you? There is a world record for clapping. What do you think the world record for continuous clapping would be?
7 days.
It's like 3.5 hours.
Oh.
And everyone, I saw this on Reddit, and everyone was like, I could totally beat that. It's like, could you? Think about that.
I don't know. It depends. Have you been to a premiere at Cannes?
Did you know that I have 2 world records, Guinness Book of World Records? I have 2. I'm in the Guinness Book of World Records twice.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
I am now. One is for most successful machinima of all time, and that was literally a money-related Guinness Book of World Records record. And so that's like the best world record to get of all time is the money-related one. And the other one is, this is going to sound really terrible, I don't remember. we got a second one for something else, and I don't remember off the top of my head what it was.
Well, congratulations on your records.
Back to the Olympics. I'm just going to give you a medal count here, Ashley,
Okay,
really quickly. This is as of our time, which is Wednesday morning, and we are in the same time zone as the Olympics. Or I think we're an hour off.
There are people competing probably as we speak. They're swimming down the Seine, buddy.
They could be competing at this moment. But I'm going to give you a medal count by gold medals, not by total medals and all that, because some of the bigger countries get to, have athletes in every single possible sport. So here's your current medal standings based on gold medals. Your leading country, Ashley,
Go ahead.
is a little country I like to call Japan.
Oh, congratulations, Japan.
7 gold medals. The host country, France, is in second and tied with China for 6 gold medals.
Oh, but how did they do in the blasphemy category?
Somebody, they hammered me, Ashley, in the comments. They said that, I can't believe Bernie would say that the Olympics are a genetics showcase. He completely discounted the mental toughness that it takes to do it. The most mentally tough person I've ever met in my life was a bus driver who drove third graders around. I don't think that they're going to have an opportunity to try out the floor routine at the 2028 Olympics.
No,
I don't think so.
Give them some time. But you're right though that it is a combination. So there's the mental toughness aspect, which you're not going to get to the Olympics without the mental toughness. But there's no amount of mental toughness that's going to make me 7.5 feet tall to play basketball.
I'm saying that the genetics, having the genetic body type, might get you there, and then you might fail because of the mental toughness. The mental toughness is not going to get you to the Olympics if you don't have that genetic predisposition.
Yeah,
right?
no, I would agree with you completely.
Like I can be the most mentally tough person in the world. You can't just put me on the rings and hope I have the right giant bat wing lats coming out the side of my body in order to do the rings.
I saw the most amazing clip, and I'll see if I can find it again and post it up. Most of the way that I'm consuming the Olympics this year is via clips of individual routines from individual competitors, because that's a really easy thing to get on social media. It's a minute at a time, and you can't help but watch these incredible feats take place. The algorithm says, oh, you like this. I'm going to show it to you all the time. And for once, I'm on board with the algorithm, and I say, yes, thank you very much. One of those, Bernie, was the guy doing the rings in gymnastics. It was a Greek competitor. He was a little bit too short. He couldn't jump up to the rings. And so another competitor, I think he was a Brazilian guy, gymnast, came out, lifted him up onto the rings, and it seemed like this, cute, funny, haha moment. And then the Greek competitor proceeded to look bored while holding his arms straight out to the sides, supporting all his body weight, and making it look easy. And then, just to be like, this isn't enough, turned himself upside down and continued to do that. It was one of those things that it makes it easy to discount how difficult Olympic stuff can be because they make it look natural, right? It was absolutely incredible, this moment.
The move has kind of a strange name. It's called the Iron Cross, where they just hold their arms out straight in the rings and they just hold themselves up there. I think that looking bored is part of the presentation. You're supposed to look like this is not the hardest thing anyone has ever done in their life, ever.
Well, he nailed it because there was no shaking. It was just this
Crazy.
beautiful, seamless thing. And so I love catching these individual physical feats in the Olympics. It's a great way to consume it.
It's really impressive. And like I said, the lats coming out of the side of their body are just, it's wild.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's mental.
Back to our medal count, though. Sorry, not mental count. Our medal count. France has 6. China has 6. Australia has 6 as well. They're all tied for second place. Korea has 5. The United States and Great Britain each have 4. Italy 3. Canada, Hong Kong, China, and Germany have 2. Why is Hong Kong separate than China?
Maybe it's a legacy thing because until they were absorbed back into China, they competed separately. So maybe they continue to do so. Okay. I'm not really up on the...
Hong Kong at the 2024 Olympics. So reading this really quickly. Hong Kong, competing as Hong Kong, China, is currently competing at the 2024 Summer Olympics in Paris. It will be the territory's 18th appearance at the Summer Olympics since its debut as a British colony in 1952, except for the Moscow 1980 Olympics as part of the United States-led boycott. So it just competes
separately
as a separate territory.
Well, that's not unheard of. So you mentioned Team Great Britain.
This isn't Taiwan. This is Hong Kong.
Right, which is now absorbed back into China, but wasn't. So I guess they are continuing to compete as their own region from a traditional standpoint. So as an example of things getting weird as far as who competes for what thing, you mentioned Team Great Britain, right? And the breakdown of
the island, right?
Yeah. So the breakdown of England versus Britain versus the UK in sports continues to confuse me. But here's the thing is, of course, Great Britain would not generally include Northern Ireland, right? It just means the Isle of Great Britain. So Wales, Scotland, and England. But there are some
What about Jersey? No, I'm just kidding. Sorry, go ahead. I'm not going to make this even more confusing.
There are some Northern Irish players representing Great Britain, and there's some other Northern Irish, I say players, but competitors, athletes representing Team Ireland.
Okay.
So I don't know how they make the decision who represents what. It's kind of weird sometimes.
It never stops being confusing. It never does. It never does. It's when you're on the Isle of Great Britain, it's the 3 countries you mentioned. The nation we're now calling it is the United Kingdom. And then the countries are the individual countries within it as well. And then even more confusing, Ashley, is it part of Europe or isn't it? And I don't mean the EU.
Well, continentally speaking.
Is the UK a European nation? Did you say continentally?
Yes.
Which is even more confusing. Is Europe a continent or isn't it? I don't understand who, at some point we came up with this word continent, right? And we started labeling things as continents. It doesn't make sense. No one thinks of a continent as being the same thing. Sometimes you'll talk to people about continents and you'll describe what it is, and people get down to the point where they talk about tectonic plates of the earth.
Well, I mean,
what do you think a continent is?
Well, so when I was in school, I was taught that it was like a unique landmass, right? There were 7 continents. It was
I was taught 7 as well.
7 unique land masses across the globe, and that's how you broke it down. So you had North America, South America. Oh boy, I'm going to show my ignorance here. Europe, Asia, Africa, and then the North and South Poles.
Nope. North Pole is not a landmass.
Not a landmass.
Did you mention Australia?
Might have been
Yeah.
Australia, and then I guess South Pole.
Yeah.
So I got 7 there.
Antarctica.
Antarctica.
So I'm just going to read. This is definition of continent. Any of the world's main continuous expanses of land: Europe, Asia, Africa, North and South America, Australia, and Antarctica. I was always taught it was a massive body of land that was surrounded on all sides by a body of water. They told me that, and then they immediately told me that Europe was a continent, even though Europe doesn't have a body of water on the eastern side of it. How is Europe not part of Asia? Or vice versa?
So I think the modern definition of a continent is it's a socio-political thing, right?
Yes. So here is, why is Europe a continent? Europe is considered a separate continent from Asia due to its distinct historical, cultural, and political identity rather than any clear geographical demarcation. That's what a continent is. It's a geographic term.
Not anymore, baby.
Oh, God, I hate it. I can't
Now
stand
it's whatever we decide it is.
5 continents. The Americas are one continent. Panama Canal doesn't count.
You don't count the Panama Canal. You don't think that we separated it into 2 continents when you made it surrounded by water with the Panama Canal?
No, I don't. Just like when we built a bridge to an island, it doesn't stop being an island, right? It's the exact opposite. Americas are a continent. Antarctica, you get to be a continent still. Australia, good on you. You're still a continent.
How about New Zealand?
Why New Zealand? It's an island.
Yeah, so is it a separate continent now?
It's on the same tectonic plate. Europe and Asia, one continent. I don't care. It's one continent. The mountains don't do shit. They don't do shit. It's all one continent. Done. I'm done.
Done. All right.
I'm cutting this off. I'm cutting it off.
Okay. Well, look, let's talk about Australia a little bit more, okay?
Why?
Because I learned that one of the Olympic hockey players for Australia amputated a finger to be there.
Oh, speaking of cutting things off.
No, so this guy, his name's Matthew Dawson. He's a 30-year-old hockey player from Australia. This is like his 3rd Olympics, by the way. He practically lives there. He broke a finger on his right hand, and it was going to take too long for it to heal, so he just said, cut the fucker off. And now he's at the Olympics. That's dedication.
This actually, the kind of thing has happened before. There was a I think he was a safety he played for the San Francisco 49ers. I don't know if he's still alive or not, but when he played, his name is Ronnie Lott, and he broke the first digit on his pinky over and over again and just got sick of it. And one day went into the doctor and just said, just cut it off. I'm done. You can see like pictures of him holding the Super Bowl trophy, and he's missing the first part of his pinky finger.
Oh, so he didn't amputate the whole finger. He just amputated the top bit.
Yes. What finger did this guy cut off, the hockey player?
It's not specified in the article I read, just that it's on his right hand. But hockey players also, they wear gloves, right? So it would have a little bit of protection in any case. And I imagine would be a little bit easier to work around for a hockey player than someone amputating a finger and trying to catch an American football.
Yeah. Well, this guy was trying to defend. I mean, sometimes he's going to try to catch it as well. Yeah. It's all that like builds into the whole, like the toughness of athletes, especially sports like hockey and football, American football. Did you know that there was a point in time when they made a rule that hockey players had to wear helmets?
Sure.
And this is a sport where like people are skating along at, I don't know what, 30, 40 miles an hour, slamming each other into the boards. There's a puck flying around at 100 miles an hour. Everyone's holding a gigantic stick and swinging it around. So I would think that if they said, hey, you guys got to wear helmets, everyone would be like, thank you very much. We will put on helmets now. Thank you for making that not our decision.
Fewer pucks directly to the dome. Thank you.
Oh, no. There was a point in time when there was an overlap where they had to grandfather all the dudes who were playing hockey before that. So they could go on the ice without wearing helmets, and all the younger players had to wear helmets. And I can remember like when the last guy who could take the ice without wearing a helmet, when that guy was playing.
That's incredible. It reminds me of the video of the lady who's going to now they're making us wear seatbelts like a communist country.
That's exactly it. We're gonna be a communist hockey league pretty soon. So that's all of our Olympic news. So everyone's doing well. The medal counts will continue to go up. There's all these headlines about Simone Biles in particular. I keep reading all these different variations of the headline. Like literally the CNN headline says this was for gold medal in teen gymnastics. The CNN headline reads, Olympic moment of the day. Simone Biles, alone on the floor, completes an incredible comeback.
That's not fair. I mean, that feels a little bit
They're
like
all
team
alone
erasure.
on the floor when they're competing, right? There's no they don't double up in any of the events. Like there's not somebody who chucks you over I guess the guy lifted the guy up on the rings. Maybe that counts.
That's not quite the same, but it does give me an idea for a new Olympic sport, and that's the gymnastic relay. So you have to have one person does, say, their bar routine, and they have to run over and tag the person who's going to do the floor routine. They're gonna do their floor routine and run over and tag the person who's going to do, I don't know, the pommel horse.
I love it.
And then they're going to do the uneven bars or whatever it is. And so they have to race, and that's how they're all on the floor at the same time, Bernie.
Maybe instead of a baton, like in the relays, they could have that ribbon. That person just hands off that long ass ribbon to everybody else. Then they get all tangled up in it when they're running for the pommel horse springboard.
It's like that flourish. You get these athletes, the gymnasts doing these like amazing physical feats, and then doing this little flourish with the wrists, and you're like, why? You don't need to flourish. Girl, your existence is a flourish.
That's amazing.
Like, you're already impressive. This doesn't make it like any more or less impressive.
Was that clip I sent you of the 2 female rugby players, was that from the Olympics, do you think?
I'm not sure if that was from the Olympics. It was a very impressive clip, though.
It's hard to explain. We'll probably have to link this one in the link, Tom.
Yeah, we'll put it in there. But there's a move that you get in rugby where one player will lift another player up to catch a ball that was thrown high. And then
they grab him by the waist and just hoist him up while that person jumps. And someone with a really shitty vertical leap, like me.
And in this particular case, the player that was being lifted had to lean back to catch the ball, and ended up kind of like overbalancing as a result. And the player that was holding her basically ended up holding her upside down behind her head, like the world's heaviest tricep extension or whatever that move is, skull crusher or something, and then lifted this other player back up over her head and put her down right side up. It was the most incredible thing I think I've ever seen.
It's crazy. It's like if you were giving someone a ride on your shoulders, they fell off backwards, and you somehow reached back over your own head and just yanked them forward and threw her forward. It was insane. These ladies are so fucking strong.
Yeah. I love watching it. I love watching it. It's amazing.
All right. So I'm sure there'll be continuing coverage of the Olympics. You're probably getting it ad nauseum. So we thought we would just try to add to that as well. So congratulations to all the medaling countries. Currently, Japan is in the lead, but still many events left to go. A lot of the track and field stuff still hasn't even taken place yet.
Well, congrats to the triathletes. Apparently, France fixed the Seine. They fixed the river overnight, so the triathlon.
What? Did they really?
Yeah. So the triathlon's gone ahead. I hope everyone is doing well after that.
Occasionally, stuff just pops up that's like, it's just political in there. Right?
Yeah, I guess maybe, yeah. But yeah. So the track and field stuff, that'll be exciting. I know your favorite. Is it the long jump, the high jump? To get the pole vault.
Pole vault, that's me,
baby.
Yeah,
that's right, getting you up over the castle walls.
Yep.
So that'll be very exciting.
So can we do a lightning round for other current events, just so we're not talking about the Olympics the entire time?
Yes, please.
Okay, really quickly, entertainment news. Quiet Place is now available if you're like me. And
that's day one?
Yeah, the one that just hit theaters, the Quiet Place day one. It is now available in home video. Not quite streaming yet. It's that paid layer between
premium VOD, yeah.
And then also in other entertainment news, if you're a House of the Dragon fan, the season 2 finale, which was not set to air until August 4th, so about 5 days from now, that has been leaked online. And specifically, they're calling out X and TikTok. So
I like to think someone posted the entire finale like 15 seconds at a time on TikTok.
It's just the dragons doing a really killer lip sync. To a Halsey song or something like that. But yeah, so if you are a fan of House of the Dragon, just buyer beware. Don't click on any House of the Dragon links or videos. You might want to filter out those results until you've seen the finale yourself. That's kind of stuff is spoilerish. You can't see this, and someone has the opportunity to ruin it for you. That kind of sucks.
Yeah. Speaking of buyer beware, also don't pick mushrooms if you don't know exactly what you're doing. If you're not with an experienced forager, just knock it off. Headline here, this is from ABC News. The Midwest sees a surge in calls to poison control centers amid bumper crop of wild mushrooms. Apparently a warm, soggy summer in the Midwest means that there have been a lot of mushrooms and a lot of people going out and then eating those mushrooms. And don't do that. I assume that these are all people who like asked ChatGPT to, to make sure their mushrooms
why are you
right
maligning?
kind.
Why are you bringing Chat? Was that in the article that they asked
No,
ChatGPT?
it was not. But can you imagine like being out in the middle of like a field and going, "Hey, ChatGPT, is this mushroom safe to eat?" And it's going, "Yeah," and you're like, "Don't do that." There are a lot of very dangerous mushrooms that look a lot like mushrooms that are not dangerous. So don't do it.
Let's listen. I had to let ChatGPT defend themselves. Let's see if ChatGPT will identify mushrooms, Ashley. Hey, Chat, can you identify mushrooms for me?
I can try to help, but it's crucial to be very cautious with mushrooms since some can be poisonous. If you can describe the mushrooms or provide a photo, I might
Oh.
be able to give you some general information. However, for a definitive identification, it's best to consult a local expert or use a reliable field guide.
Forager. Oh, okay. This mushroom that I want to eat, it's a red and yellow mushroom, and I got it by hitting a giant block that had a question mark on it with my head, and it popped out. Should I eat this one?
It sounds like you're describing a mushroom from a video game.
Can't get it past you. You are smarter than us. All right. Well, that's our news for today, July 31st, 2024. Who do we have to thank for today's podcast, Ashley?
Let's thank today's expert foragers, Kenny G and Edward Totter. Thank you both for sponsoring this episode of the show at patreon.com/morningsomewhere.
Thank you both very much. And that does it for us today. The last day of July 2024. We will be back to talk to you tomorrow. We hope you'll be here as well.
Bye, everybody.